G'day. My name is Scott Fitzsimons, and tonight I'm hosting Whisky Roundtable by myself because, and to pull back the curtains a little bit, this is how the stream normally works. I build the stream nice and early. I get on here at 7 o'clock and I play some nice music and let everyone come in and blah, blah, blah. I've spent 29 minutes dancing by myself tonight, so everyone else who is here is currently in Whisky Roundtable jail until I let them in for being so late onto the stream. But I will slowly, one by one, as is my want, as is my will, let some other people into this stream. Matt Bailey, because he was late, is just jumped out of the shower from his OnlyFans stream. Matt, welcome back to the stream.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you very much for allowing me into your stream and for being 29 minutes late. So therefore, we can bring the other guys in, can't we, by now? I don't know.
I know. My feelings are very, very hurt. My feelings are very, very hurt that it took so long to get into this stream.
It was a good shower scene though, Matt. I dig it.
But you obviously must have finished a little bit before Matt did because you were here 30 seconds before he was. But Andy Milne, welcome back. You were away last week and you're going to disappear from us this week. How is Bondi? What's going on? What's happening?
It's lovely. Yeah,
baby
still
shark, do,
dead
do,
as everything.
Do, 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 baby shark, do 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 do.
I should have kept you in jail. Look, Alex is here as well. We've got the whole gang back together tonight on the Whisky Roundtable. We do not have a guest, but what we do have is whiskey ideas and opinions because we can see after what feels like months and months and years, the light at the tunnel. And in my case, I can genuinely see quite a lot of light just over there for something that I'm not going to reveal quite yet. We're going to talk about whiskies we've had, news that's current, things we hate, all that sort of fun. But arguably the most important thing that's happening right now is that we can see the light for bars. We can sit together. We haven't seen each other in person for many, many months, and we're going to do that in the foreseeable future. But before that happens, there is one very, very important thing. And Matt Bailey, you can't help me on this. You can't help anyone on this. Andy Milne, you can't help me, mate. You can't help me on this. Alexandra Dahlenburg, you can help me because as part of your role at the Barrel House Group, you have, and the Barrel House Group has a thing called the Barbershop, and not does it only serve gin and martinis, it's also a legitimate barbershop. So while everyone is scrambling to book in for bars and restaurants, how do we jump the queue and get our hair cut properly for the first time in months?
Okay.
What are the secrets? What are we going to do here?
We opened our bookings today.
Yeah,
for all of our barbershops. So Barangaroo and York Street, we have an amazing group of hairdressers. So we've got as many hairdressers in. I did all their paperwork today. We're super excited to be able to open those doors and bookings are going quick.
And for someone who normally gets the $10 job at at the next to the sushi counter at Woolworths, I have quite a lot of hair. Like what is the average per inch per centimeter ratio is it going to cost me at the moment?
We were talking about this the other day about how much women pay for haircuts versus men. I think for a good barbershop, you're looking at like $60 to $70, whereas most women will leave hair salons after $300.
But frequency has to be taken into that consideration. If you're a guy, you're probably getting a haircut every 3 or 4 weeks.
3 or 4 weeks. Okay, well, girls are doing 6 to 8 weeks.
I think the amount of time we spend there is probably slightly different.
Yeah.
Who's getting a haircut every 3 or 4 weeks?
But hey, Scotty, I know someone.
Go early and then deal with the problem later.
I know someone, and because we're known for this shit. Hang on, where's the blade? Can you see the blade on the back?
No, but if you
oops, shit. But yeah, guys, all the bookings for all the barbershops are open, and I might be able to swing you a haircut, Scotty, because you fucking need one, mate.
Mate, if never has a human being had this much unnecessary hair on their head.
Message me in the morning and I'll get you one. But it's super exciting having all these bookings open. So
I had a ponytail for a year, Scotty. I mean, if you can endure. You can endure.
No, I definitely can't. And definitely it's not coming out of your mouth. But I want to say a big g'day to Dave Worthington, who has experienced this when the UK opened. He's down in Bedfordshire at the moment, tuning in. They opened the bars and the barbers open on the same day here. I wanted a pint of Guinness, so now I have a ponytail. Yep, I know. Like,
Well, here's the deal with our barber shops. You can actually go in, get a haircut, and have a drink. So you can if you book in for that Tuesday that we open up, you can literally walk on in there and get your first drink.
like I think that's the way it needs to happen. Is martini in one hand, and not the clippers in the other hand. Hopefully, someone else has the clippers in their hand. But hold on, and let's drill down on this very quickly. I've got a martini in one hand. There's quite a lot of hair. You know, there's hair going everywhere in this situation.
Into that drink, absolutely.
Yeah. How do I
a beer is safer. Keeps it locked down.
All right. Look, tonight we're going to have a bit of a chat. We're just going to talk and catch up because we literally haven't spoken in a couple of weeks. First of all, most important question is what's in our glass tonight, ladies and gentlemen?
Thank you, Ross, for the Balvenie. So I'm going to have a Balvenie.
Fantastic. Which one is it?
12 sweet American oak.
The one done by Kelsey.
Yes, that's the one.
Yes. Awesome.
I haven't read the label yet, so I don't know who made it or where it came from, but I'm enjoying it.
That's one of Kelsey's first releases.
I know. You know all this stuff. You know all this stuff.
You do.
I know.
Yes. Well, no, it helps having a BFF.
It does.
Sorry,
a BFF.
A WBFF, a whiskey best friend.
A box of goodies arrived from Willie G.
Is that all he's good for?
It.
Yeah. Awesome. That's wonderful.
Yeah, why not?
Milne.
Shout out to Peter Bignell. My barber offers a whiskey with a haircut.
Yeah.
And let's play bingo here. How often do you reckon Peter Bignell gets a haircut? Do you reckon he's there like once a week? Because he always looks immaculate. Always immaculate.
I'm going 9 weeks.
9 weeks?
9 weeks?
Specific.
Yeah, every 9 weeks or so. Unless he's using his old shearing clippers.
Yeah, so is the barber a sheep? And does he
For
pour
a
his
bit of
own
a home
whiskey?
job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Milne, what's in the glass, mate?
See, I always get told off for coming in about 2 weeks later than I should have gone into the barbers in the first place. So God knows what kind of lecture I'm going to get from your team when I go in next, Alex, because at least I have a decent excuse for not coming in so long. I'm having a blast from the past, which is quite literally a blast from the past, because it's the bottling for the Whisky Show 10th anniversary, which is the last show that I worked on very briefly, and then my former team then did most of the rest of the work. But given that is taking place for real this weekend as well, so I thought nice timely little Ben Nevis 21-year-old. Yeah, 21-year-old.
Getting some age on it. That's wonderful.
Flex.
Delicious. Scotty, I'm going to ask you what's in your glass.
Well, I've just finished the wine that you've obviously just seen, but I'm actually cracking something new right now because I have managed to acquire the full flight of the Ned Wanted series. So Ned is if you're not familiar, a whiskey distillery down in Campbellfield in Victoria who do a lot of what they do, the Ned whiskey and various other things, and very much an entry-level bourbon-leaning sort of whiskey in terms of a thing. But they do this limited series. I haven't tried any of them, and I've got all of them. So I'm going to start with the latest one tonight, which is the Honor. I don't know anything about it apart from the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 barrels it came from, which mean nothing to me and nothing to you, but I'm just going to try it and we'll figure it out from there. So that's what is going into my glass as we speak.
What was that? Could have been better. What was that Dura called? Was that Dura 7 wood they called it or something? And then the joke was, no, we must go deeper. We need an 8 wood. We need a 9 wood. You know, it's like, how many different woods can you get? Alex, what's in your glass?
It sounds like a golf club set.
Yeah, it does.
Oh my God, did I make it funny?
a legitimate joke. A legitimate fact-based joke.
It's pretty good.
I'm trying to get a glass. I don't know.
Brooke Laddie did a massive series of golfing bottles. I'm sure it was like the Lynx or something.
The Lynx, yeah.
So did Eden Mill, didn't they?
Yes, Eden Mill have a golfing history of bottlings, and Eden Mill beers, by the way, great beer as well. They make beer and whiskey equally good on that site. But there you go. We had a couple of Eden Mill casts at the Society last year. Bloody crackers.
Hell yeah. Because it's still Bourbon Heritage Month for another day. I am having the Old Forester 1910 Kentucky Straight, which I did an Old Forester, I suppose, little session last week. for the Cheers campaign. So this was my absolute favorite. And apparently you can't get it in Australia. So one of the worst things you can do to me is say, hey, try this whiskey. I love it. And then tell me I can't get it.
Yeah, no, I was about to say, please encourage, if anyone who has their local Brown-Forman rep, tell them to please bring this in. Because it is a great bourbon. And like it's absurd that it's not distributed in Australia.
So good.
Is it just supply? Like
it's all over
volume?
the States. It's all over the States. It's not.
Yeah, but like we have the same with various things with Buffalo Trace. There's certain SKUs. It's like, why don't we have this? It's like there's not enough to go around America, let alone the rest of the world. So it's just
this one's kind of similar to the double oak.
You could bring in a few cases.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if
bring in a few cases. That's all you need.
Lovely people that run bars that buy a lot of whiskey. Anyway, it's absolutely delicious, and I kind of fell in love with it last Thursday night. So I've kept a little bit in the bottle and promised the team that I'm going to bring it in so they can try it.
I love a love affair that lasts that long.
It's
almost almost a whole week. Milne, I know that you have things to get to tonight, so we're going to kick off with you a little bit. I want you to pick one topic, one news article, one whiskey, one something. You know, we're sitting at a bar, we're having a drink. What do you want to talk about? Like, what do you want to bring to the whiskey roundtable tonight?
Well, I suppose the one that's closest to home for me is probably the recent sale of my former employee, Whisky Exchange.
Yeah.
By
Huge
Pernod
news.
Ricard.
Huge news.
Yeah. And I think it's a funny one because sort of I watched a colleague of mine that does most of the social media just, Control C, Control V, Control C, Control V of all the sort of not just the sort of the company message, but actually just having to communicate with all these people that are coming back and saying, "Oh, this is terrible news. This is the worst. This is the end of this company forever."
A business has done so well that a company bigger than it has said, "We want to be involved in that business." What a fucking disaster!
Yeah. I genuinely think it's really positive. It will take a colossal amount to change a business like that, and I don't think Pernod are anywhere near stupid enough to turn it into a Pernod shop and nothing else. They'll definitely reap benefits from it, but there's countless other companies that have bought other businesses. Boozebud, Master of Malt are also owned in similar ways, and I think it helps grow and it helps build that business for them.
It's a really interesting point, Milne, because we have a real tall poppy thing here in Australia where anything successful gets rewarded for a success and then cut down. It's rampant in terms of the craft beer industry and that sort of stuff. And so I think what you're saying there, that's a very successful company. No one is buying to shut it down. No, they're buying it to go like, I'm seeing they're making money, they're doing real well. I want to be part of that. But do you, in terms of in the UK scene, would they be reacting the same way that you would and there's been a big acquisition recently in Australian craft beer scene from a company that, said they wouldn't never go that way. And obviously COVID changes situations. But is that a very Australian thing, or did you see that over in the UK as well?
No, I think you'll definitely see the same sort of concern and worry in the UK, and I think it's with everything. You always look at change with trepidation, and there's you choose two paths. You either embrace change and go, "This is excellent, this is exciting. What could be next?" Or you go, "Fuck, this is scary. What's going to happen?" And I think there will similarly be that idea of will they be as independent? Will they be I think, to be honest, the only concern I see, and I saw this for years when I was in the business, is what happens when Secunda and Rajbeer retire. And, it's nothing to do with whether they sell to someone or whether they're not. It's those two people you can't begin to imagine how many hours they put into that business. That, they're there at the beginning, they're there at the end of every single day, and working on every detail. They understand every aspect of the company. So the real worry is, who can replace what those guys have done. And it's just the way their brain works is phenomenal, to anticipate everything that's coming up, to see what's going on. But also this obsession to be able to make sure that they know what's next. And I think they've got a solid team around them as well. Dawn has come in as their buyer, or 5+ years ago now, and she really championed rum and actually sort of brought rum into a key part of that business, and really strong relationship with Foursquare and various other producers. So the team around will continue to build, and as long as you bring in good people, good things will happen.
So a question on something you said there, and I want to throw this to everyone here, and I'm talking about retailers now. Obviously, the Oak Barrel is a retailer. That perceived loss of independence. So the Oak Barrel is a retailer, a very proud independent retailer for 65 years and ongoing. What the fuck does independent retailer mean? What is the benefit of that? In all seriousness, people say, if you're saying, well, that's not independent anymore, what does that really mean? It's not going to change the selection.
On that point, Scott, it's a silly sort of it doesn't change. As Andy said, if Pernod are smart about it, and they will be, it's about the broader proliferation of their folio. And they've seen, as I think Ryan put in a comment just there, these brands that don't know who their end customers are, this is massive with especially your Pernods, your Brown Formans, your William Grants, whoever they are. These are big folios who don't know who their end user is. And they know who their middleman is. They know who sells their product. They know which bars carry it. They know which retailers carry it. They don't know who's drinking it at home. And so for them to have that then a customer list of saying this is what it is. I mean, but that's you've related to the Oak Barrel. I relate the same thing to the society. I mean, we were bought by Glenmorangie and then sold back again. There was bemoaning at the time about, it's all gone now, and LVMH are going to just destroy the society and blah, blah, blah. It's but absurdity. It didn't actually change anything except the growth of the category and the growth of the site. It's the same with buying a retailer. That independence is a stupid remark to begin with, but yeah, it doesn't mean anything in terms of that. What does it mean? It means nothing.
Yeah.
And I think that the comment there from Gary is saying, it means not tied to a certain company and may push their stuff more. But I think you peel back the lid on most businesses, there is a company, and it is for an independent retailer, it's generally multiple companies that are helping financially, be it in a bar or in a store, in some sort of financial way to then get more support. So be that paying for EDMs or paying for more presence online, or a price promotion in store and things. It's it's supported and funded by brands. So as an independent retailer, you can pick and choose and say, I don't want to associate myself with that. That's fine. So you have that extra level of integrity and trust. But generally speaking, if you're worth anything, you know that what your customers want. So you're not going to say, yeah, cool, I'll take all this money for this promotion that is utterly pointless and doesn't benefit my customers, nor does it benefit them. So you're sensible enough to go, that's a stupid idea in the first place. So,
and we're all drinking Chivas 12 from now on, exactly. What
what we're drinking, always Chivas 12.
I like that comment from Andrew Moat, Scotty. If you can throw that one up,
I was waiting because it's very interesting.
Yeah, Andrew, that's a really good point. It's a heuristic, and those patterns aren't based on nothing. Alex, what's your take?
Brook Laddie was bought by Remy, and it's only gone strength to strength, but it's still stayed with the core values of what it is. I think we all build businesses big enough to have someone come in and go, it's worth it, we want to buy it. I don't think we should be scared of this sort of stuff happening. No. And I think it actually gives the power to make something that we all love potentially bigger and better instead of picking the negative. Think about the reach and the funding now that it's got, and the backbone with
Whisky could come back.
Marketing. For example, you put all of those tools of Pernod Ricard underneath the Whisky Exchange. Just think about how much bigger and better its potential could be. And it's rather than being quite up in arms about it, sit and chill. Like, this could be a good thing.
Can I put something in just a bit of a case study here? And it was a company we've mentioned, Brown Forman. And I'm going to put it back. I'm going to broaden the scope of acquisitions into the Benryak Distilling Company, which involved Benryak, Glen Glassauer, and obviously Glen Dronach. And they bought that off Billy Walker, for quite a lot of money, and they are taking that brand, and those brands are more available to people than they ever were before. But the other side of it, Billy Walker has now gone and bought Glenallachie. And Glenallachie was a blender's malt, and we used to have the odd, maybe once every 2 years, Glenallachie independent bottling.
No one paid attention to it. Even the independent
no one gave a shit about it.
No one gave a shit about
we launched it at Whiskey Fair we air freighted a couple of cases in to launch it at Whiskey Fair in one of the downstairs years with their current importers, and we didn't have anything to sell. People tried it; it was cool. Right now, I've never taken so many calls about an import order. Everyone knows Glenallachie is on the water and it's close. I haven't taken so many calls about a Scotch whiskey just like as an official bottling distillery for a long time. So that money that was given to Billy Walker, it doesn't disappear from the industry. It's gone back in, and all of a sudden there is now another brand, another single malt distillery that people are absolutely falling over themselves for. So I think that's a really interesting case study about this money doesn't leave this industry sometimes.
And there's separate businesses that weren't involved in the sale. So the distillery that they're building on Isla is not a part of that deal.
But it just doubled in fucking size.
Well, exactly. It goes a long way to securing a nice startup fund.
There's some funds that have been shifted. Yeah.
Yeah. Might get a bigger tanker now.
Yeah, I think everything's going to be fine.
I think it's a great. And all these things, whether we're talking about, distilleries or retailers or any part of that chain from way to go, it's a sign that you are doing something well and you are doing something very well, and people are rewarding you for it. And I don't see it so much in Aussie distilleries because it hasn't happened as much, but breweries, it does get me down a little bit when people boycott distilleries or breweries. And yes, 100% when people come in and they railroad it and they cut corners, and that is disappointing. But for the people who built that brand and it was their baby, to get an offer that is honestly too good to turn down, I think that's that should be celebrated.
By the way, those boycotts are all social media and they don't actually affect sales.
Oh yeah, no.
Sorry. It's all noise. It doesn't actually affect sales, and we've seen that over and over and over again in every case study.
Yeah.
They don't actually affect sales.
Can you guys imagine the buying power that could potentially make things a little bit better priced for you from it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's absurd. It's just absurd.
Yeah. If you're complaining about this thing you like being being too expensive, this is how it gets cheaper. Yeah. I agree. I think we should all just chill.
Yeah.
Milne, where are you off to?
I'm off to drink some more bourbon.
Hosting a bourbon tasting, are you?
I'm not even hosting. I'm just there for fodder. I'm just there. No, I'm there. We're doing 2019 BTEC alongside 2020. So I think it's the first time we've ever done side by side of the same SKU, but just vintage change. So it should be good fun.
Hell yeah.
Once again, other streams are available if you're bored of this one.
Very true.
I'm gonna leave you with that independent bombshell, and you can spend the next 35 minutes pontificating on that.
I'm not hanging around that long. Don't worry.
And Dave Worthington says, I think we might see some more manufacturers taking control of their sales. William Grant's sons have opened their own sales channel. Yes, I think this is a topic maybe we need to delve into in a next episode. But I'm loving the chats we're coming up with. Let's go. Who wants to go next?
I'm also loving how educated some of our guests are.
I know.
Right? Look at those comments.
It's helpful to have them on.
Yeah. Thanks for giving us shit to talk about.
Also, when they realise that they know arguably more than us, let's not break that glass ceiling.
And
awesome. I'll see you next week, guys.
Have fun, Andy.
See you later, Milne.
Bye.
All right, Bailey, you want to go next?
Sure.
I had a question for you, but you can come up with your own topic if you want.
No, you start with the question. That might lead me off. I've only got sort of tidbits of interesting bits and bobs happen the last week for me. But yeah.
Yeah, but I bet you've had a lot of activity on the society page about another Australian bottling
Mm.
and that sort of thing. There was obviously a lot of talk about Jacaranda Jam and being the first and being quite monumental in its scope. You know, people potentially pointing out that it's not the first time Australian whiskey is being bottled by a Scottish independent bottler, but it was a lot more than that. Being bottled here with the weight of a company like Society, it was a monumental occasion. You've now got another distillery. Like just to get a bit of a feeling of as an Australian who was obviously so well, integrated with the Australian whiskey scene, but working for a very, very famous Scottish company, like from the consumers and then like globally, like what has the company been talking about? What have people overseas, Society members, been talking about?
Yeah. Well,
how does it taste? By the way, that's what
Jacaranda Jam or the next one, the incoming one.
No, Jacaranda Jam. I haven't had the pleasure yet.
I literally had. I was there. I had it in my cart. I had the old credit card in. So when I went to print, it was like, your credit card has expired. It was like, by the time I did that. So I have no idea what it tastes like either.
Yes, that was 130 bottles in about 22 seconds online. That one.
Wow.
So that was literally 22 seconds. But yeah, it was that was like Jacaranda Jam was super tasty. It was that very much in that new world of that distillery, if you like. Their modern regiment of making spirit, which is their sort of 6 malt barley. And their roasted malts and whatnot. It was, I thought it was very well integrated. I'm a huge fan of that one, but also of the this Friday's one. This Friday's is the oldest ever bottling from this distillery, which is kind of exciting. Which is a 7-year-old, the 148.1, a pair for everyone, which is that next Australian distillery. But yeah, no, I mean, I think that internationally there were members who were messaging myself and Susie and people in the team. Asking for, how do we get a bottle? How do we get a bottle? It's like there were members in Sweden, in the UK, US, and everything asking how do we get one of these .1 collectors. These, Ryan says it's not obviously Australian. I appreciate that. It's not. I mean, it's not obviously Australian. It's a very sort of like it stands up against any sort of new world whiskey. I'd say yeah. I mean, I think the reaction to it was quite funny actually. I mean, some members in the UK said, "Oh, it's not whiskey. It's only 2 years old." And it was like two and a half years old, but yeah, it has to be 3, and so it sort of comes down to the education portal of it all as well. But
just on that, that's not the first time Society have bottled something under 3 years, right? There's been some American whiskey under 3 years.
Yeah, we bottled some bourbon.
Because like we can't get away from them is the Scotch Malt Whiskey Society. Scotch has rules and regulations about what that means, but that glass hasn't been shattered by this release. It was shattered by some American releases.
Oh yeah, I mean. Martin Eber from Time for Whiskey recently wrote this article about the society, and he said only one of the words in their name is correct anymore, and that's the word whiskey. It's like Scotch. No,
it's not. You release Armagnac and gin.
Yeah, exactly. I know. So even the name doesn't make sense in that regard anymore.
And
I mean, it was kind of funny that because we released a 2-year-old bourbon about 2 or 3 years ago now, and the same month we released I think it was a 17-year-old bourbon, which was one of the oldest ones. Also one of the oldest bourbons we've bottled. That was fun as well, but they're very different distilleries. But yeah, I think the perception to that line like 90s Scotch whiskey marketing has a lot to answer for. In terms of it's a 12 years minimum aged and that kind of all that sort of silly conversation.
And my office smells of rich mahogany and leather-bound book.
And men holding tumblers.
As me sitting with rich mahogany and leather-bound books, but yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Are you describing the bloke to have your left shoulder there, or
leather-bound books?
A leather-bound book, literally a leather-bound book. Yeah.
So, just a very important follow-up question: how do you write in leather-bound books without fountain pens? I thought that was illegal.
Don't start with pens, Scotty.
Pen talk. Next week is sponsored by Basil World.
Matt, can I ask how's Melbourne going for you apart from lockdowns? Are we allowed to talk that you've moved to Melbourne and
yes,
what you
it's
do
just happened.
there?
Yeah. It still feels like it just happened, but it's just I mean, it's all the same. It's all the same. I'm in a room somewhere in the world. It's just like you guys. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm going to maintain that Melbourne is, and you know this, Alex, the whiskey capital of Australia, and that's okay. We No, and look,
Matt
and
Waller,
speaking
Matt
of
Waller
Belvin,
said quill, and I do have a dipping quill in there, but I just realised it doesn't have a nib on it because it's obviously got interchangeable nibs.
You're a nib. Fucking hell.
I might just mute
pens,
myself.
Pens.
Um,
We should do a pen and whiskey. Oh, pen and whiskey roundtable.
No, stop. Both of you are getting out of control.
A pair for everyone is our Friday release, which that's what I've got left in mind, which is about 2/3 of a bottle, which is nice.
Yeah.
And it's like I said, I'm really excited about this. This is arguably the most exciting release I've worked on from start to finish in terms of picking out casks, working with the downstream team, Carly, Jared, Chris, all the guys, Sam, all the guys over at Starwood Distillery. Back and forth with those guys has been fantastic, and it's great to have a new distillery in the coding system. We've got 149 bottled as well, by the way, which Scotty you'll know quite well. You've just recently bottled one of your own, and 150 to be announced soon as well.
Don't tell me you're opening nibs for your quill pen.
No. I've actually having a sample of a pair for everyone here that I was going to open. So
I was like, don't bring out the pens.
Oh, is this? No. There's not enough time in the day, literally. Not alone this stream, but not enough hours left in the day for to go through the pens. But I've got a sample of a pair for everyone. I might crack into.
Do it.
Awesome. And that goes up this week, Matt.
Yeah, Friday.
Oh, I'll pour some of mine too.
I didn't send you.
No, you didn't.
Oh, that's awkward. Point. That's awkward. Oh, shit.
You never sent me shit, Matt. I love you.
Well, I mean, we do send them to members all the time, so you are welcome to join. Anyone's always welcome to join. In fact, for you, it's a tax expense.
I'm on a bar salary. I can't afford this shit. I think we've got something pretty big to talk about. An announcement that happened yesterday. Is it yesterday or the day before? About the wonderful John Campbell retiring from Lefroy and Isla.
Big news.
Big news. So he's heading back to the mainland after I think it was 27 years. Yeah. That is large news for Lefroy.
Yeah, it's so good to see it actually published because he made some announcement like at the beginning of the year saying, I'm looking forward to my final stint or something. He said it at Lefroy. It was like, what does that mean? Does that mean like a year? Does that mean a month? Does that mean last 10? Well, I'm looking forward to my last decade. Yeah, the distillery. But that's cool, and it's as we know. I mean, the distillery changes. The distillery profile will probably adapt and change a bit as well. It always does when that kind of role changes.
It does, and I love that he's the longest standing distillery manager in history.
Except for.
No, he is. That's what it said.
Well, that's incorrect.
So 27 years.
Yeah, I thought that was the longest standing distillery manager.
I mean, I guess it defined distillery manager because there was a lot of times in the past where people would hang around for more than 27 years.
Oh, at Lefroy. I said at Lefroy.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah. Well, longest at Lefroy,
longest standing distillery manager at Lefroy.
Because otherwise, Dennis Malcolm would probably hold that
title. Yeah. No, I said at Lefroy, guys.
Dennis Malcolm is 60. Yeah, 60. That's another milestone this year. 60 years for Dennis Malcolm at Glen Grant. That's bloody cool. Imagine that. I mean, I know David Stewart's at 50 something years.
50. I thought it was 50. I thought it was 56. But yeah, go on.
Yeah, something like that. So he'll probably be next on that lineage. But that's just the idea of working in a distillery for 60 years sounds hellish.
Does it?
No,
I think it's such a romantic notion.
No, it is.
Well, Alex, you've obviously in your new role, you're working at a distillery now for about 27 days. So how does that feel so far?
I haven't been at the distillery a lot lately. It's still in build phase, so I have just been working with the bars and setting up Hickson House Bar at the moment. Obviously get to see this shiny stainless that's in. But we're just getting very excited about getting venues open, which I think is something else we should talk about tonight, is the fact that we're all going to be let out very soon. Yeah. And that's the scary thing.
That's exciting. That's a little scary.
It's funny. I'm not worried about any of the whiskey drinkers when they get let out because most of them have been drinking through lockdown. I'm worried about the people that haven't been drinking through lockdown and that were like, I'm not going to drink through lockdown. And then we're going to let them out on that night with small capacities, great service because there's not a whole heap of people in there. I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just let's drill down on that. And so, and I'm going to ask what everyone's sort of go-to is going to be. But I've noticed here at the Oak Barrel, we've seen certain bars start to come back when announcements were made earlier in this week, and just sort of go, "Hey, we're just bars that haven't necessarily been active during the lockdown like others have been," and go, "We're starting to open the doors and let a couple of staff in and managers to just have a look and see what we need to do." Like Alex, when you shut down a bar and like turn the lights off and you don't know when you're going to walk in again, whether that's in a week or in 3 months, like what's involved with turning the lights back on again at a bar?
The previous big lockdown we did March last year, it was a different story. We knew we were going to be locked down and some of us were like, we don't even know when we're going to come out. So it was a different story to this lockdown because this lockdown was meant to be a short snap kind of thing. So yeah, how many months later? So it was big difference. Last lockdown was like we emptied fridges, we turned fridges off. Whereas I think this lockdown, because we did think it was going to be a shorter one and we weren't going to go into this long. I've seen people they didn't shut the fridges down. They didn't shift any of the furniture. They didn't push it back. So I think this time coming out, I think we don't have to shift as much furniture, but definitely get in and clean. So there was a difference, and that was purely how long we thought it was going to be. So kegs going off, returning kegs and suppliers have been absolutely amazing through all of this. Like kegs that have been sitting there going off, some suppliers have taken them back, which is amazing.
Who foots that bill?
Not us, which is amazing.
Yeah, and like that's like is always like it's great that I'm obviously at the same end, like at the front end, but from a different part of the market.
Yeah.
But you know, you've sold kegs of beer into a venue. All of a sudden, that venue can't operate, so you're going to take them back.
Mm-hmm.
But are they giving them back to the breweries? And like, who's taking the hit there? Or is everyone taking a bit of a hit?
I think everyone's taking a little bit of hit. There's some guys that really can't do that. So, I mean, we've lost a couple of kegs. That was bound to happen. What's in the lines is well and truly gone. And I think a lot of venues will be going through that. So we pulled water through a whole heap of the taps and just left that sitting there. So that's one of the things you've got to do. You've literally got to redo all the lines, make sure your beer systems are working. Currently working on making sure the till systems are up, getting fridges regassed. If you've got fridges off and they're for that long, the gas leaks out of them. So there's all sorts of stuff that just comes along with getting a venue open. It's not about opening doors. You've actually got to have an opening budget as well. So that's a hard thing for a lot of venues, is having that cash left there to be able to go, we need to restock on this. And that's where I'm so proud of the hospitality industry, because so many suppliers and companies are going, what do you need to get open? We'll help you. We'll get you back in business, because obviously without us, they have no business. Bottle shops don't sell kegs, do they? Not often.
No,
so,
but we used to have kegs.
Yeah.
Because we have a growler system here. We obviously haven't had that since the first lockdown. So
yeah. So it's actually quite a big business. The next thing is the government restrictions. So we're just setting up our processes and our procedures of how we're going to run that door, and a lot of like the COVID plans, we need to do all those for those venues. They're not quite up yet, but we need to get the venue operating so it is under the government guidelines, and work out just how we're going to put seating and fit our capacities. So.
And that's all very, very important. But talking about lines, obviously the Duke of Clarence is part of the Barrel House.
Mate, the Guinness is up and running.
The Guinness lines,
Guinness
are they
line is up and
affected?
running.
Are they okay? Do you need to sing to them every night? Like I know the Guinness in Sydney is never going to be as Guinness in Ireland. We all know that. But as some of the best Guinness I've tasted in Sydney. Like, what do we need to do a whip around or like a bit of like prayer work? Like, how do we make this happen?
I don't generally talk about work on Whiskey Roundtable, but the beer system actually just got a little bit of an upgrade, so it's going to be even better. I tested the beer system on the weekend.
I love you. I will test that myself.
Yeah,
I will wait to decide.
You are ready to rumble.
Yeah.
It's tested. It's ready to go. That's one of the first things that we were worried about. We were like, shit, we've got to get the Guinness. Like, the Guinness has got to be crisp, fresh, awesome, because there's so many people out there that are just like, give me a pint of Guinness. So I'm excited to do that. And then lovely Andrew has brought up the wonderful shortage of staff that we have in the hospitality scene right now to do visas, and a lot of people just finding other jobs and moving out of hospitality. So we've maintained all of our team, which is great. So we're opening up on a reasonable level, but just remember we were operating on probably a lower level than we were originally. So, and then staffing a new venue, that's going to be fun. When I say fun, I mean interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be fun for us to watch for someone who's in charge of that. Maybe not so fun. And let's continue on this thread, because I always find it quite interesting. There's, hospitality is sometimes, particularly as the bartender expression of hospitality. So, it has that old school mentality. It's the thing you do while you're at uni. And I know from someone who figured out very early on that I was never going to be good enough to work in hospitality. I need to sit on the other side of the bar. You can tell immediately within 5 seconds of walking into a venue where there are people who want to be there, who like that is their career and that sort of stuff. So, and Alex, I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. I'm actually considering, for someone who's a big consumer of hospitality, this could actually be a good thing, because the people who were sort of on the fence about whether they were committed to this cause and as a career choice, they've gone. They're stacking shelves. They're doing whatever else they're doing in what few jobs you could get during the pandemic. Mm-hmm. Does this not, it is very tough. It's a bloodbath in the job market out there to find great staff. But is there maybe an element that this could actually be the rise of a golden generation of hospitality workers, people who really take this baton and run with it?
As in a more secure level base of people that want to stay in it? Is that what you're asking? But
overall, but then also from people, employers going, we are going to, if you're here, we're really going to value you. And, there's that element, like it's I don't know if I'm pulling figures out of my bum here, but, people jump around in hospitality to different venues and that's how they learn and that sort of stuff. It's going to be an element of let's lock in for 5 years. Let's be a lifer at this venue and really create something special.
I think that's something that is definitely important in careers. Like, I haven't jumped around in my hospitality career, and I think to get the most out of companies and to grow the best you possibly can and learn as much as you can, I think your minimum's 3 years in a company, minimum as it is. But I don't jump because I want to learn the whole thing in a company. With hospitality, with bartenders, I think that sometimes in our small bar scene, we don't have that level of rising. So to step up, you need to step out. And I think that's a bit of not a problem that we have in the hospitality scene. But on the other face of that, if you're looking after your team and they're happy with where they are, what they're achieving and what they're learning, then you're going to keep staff. If you see venues that are constantly turning over staff, especially in a management team, like, that's something that we need to look at for culture. But if you've got staff that are continually stable, especially in a management team, that are achieving, doing well on a personal and as an employee, I think that's what we've all got to aim for.
I think it's excellent sentiments, and just on that note, as particularly from Bailey and myself, people who are way horrendously and terribly unskilled enough to be on the correct side of the bar. People have been asking me.
Those who don't do teach, and I'm a manager.
Yeah.
So I'm with you, boys.
Those, like, people have been coming up to me like, when like as soon as we can allow people back in and like from outside of the bubbles and that sort of stuff, are you going to do events straight away? And I'm like, absolutely not.
Nope.
I have 3 weeks of going to venues and drinking at bars, and I need to get out of the way before I can justify one night here. So I want to pick, from you guys, and then I'll chime in.
I got a question, Scotty. Does your business drop down when venues open up again?
No, because we're CBD. If bars and restaurants are busy, we're busy.
Okay.
And we're actually the opposite to other bottle stores.
Mm-hmm.
When bars and restaurants are not busy and regional and suburban bottle stores are busy,
yep,
we are.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like there's words and phrases. Harbour Bridge and jump off has been mentioned a couple of times, but like that's the real thing. So talking to Mikey when I was judging the Gin Awards last week.
Yeah.
Owner of one of the owners of the Barrel House.
Yeah, Mikey and Julian. Yeah.
Yeah, he was sort of talking about like, what can we do to bring people in? I want you to come into the Oak Barrel, buy a bottle of wine to go out to dinner somewhere, and then go out to the bar afterwards. What experiences can we create? So we're actually, suppliers, when they get to, like, you always have a rep that'll come in and be like, try and sell you something for the first time, and then it's the 3rd or 4th meeting they start to understand. It's like, this is not a normal bottle store.
No.
By the 5th one, they go, you guys are a bar. You're just pretending to be a bottle store, aren't you?
Yeah.
Like,
that's it.
That's like, and you don't get any of their license benefits, but you get of your license benefits.
Yeah.
And that's what this situation is. And it's across.
And you also get knockoffs at like 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah. That's how we advertise to staff.
Yeah.
It's like, do you want to get out of the bar industry and come to us? You can be at home by 9 p.m. if you want to.
Yeah.
We need people, like for us, we need people back in the city.
Yep. So I totally agree. And with the offices not coming back, I don't think offices will come back till probably next year. So I think what will be driving people into the city is that hospitality scene. So make the trip, guys. Get in there and support your local bars, your favorite bars in the city.
Yeah. And we've worked, like, we haven't sat here on our hands and gone, oh, gee, I really hope we'll let people in the city again. That'd be nice. You two have seen, I'm not quite ready to announce because we have some things, but
I'm very excited for this, Scotty.
Every time I lift my head up to about there, my eye gets caught by something quite big.
The hype is real.
The hype is real. I'm so excited for this.
Monolith-esque. It's literally.
Are we going to cut a ribbon? Is there a ribbon to be cut?
I'm going to head to my stylist. Will there be a ribbon to be cut at the launch? Indeed, yes. I get confirmation.
Fantastic. Wonderful.
There will be now.
And I'm actually not talking to myself. There is
Thank you, Siobhan.
In-house. Yeah, thank you, Siobhan. The in-house stylist did answer that one there.
Fantastic. What bars are you hitting, guys?
So I know, and I saw an excellent article on Boothby today that was actually giving staggered.
I was going to bring that up. Oh, you're awesome.
So like staggered things. So I've been looking at that very carefully because I know that I can't do it all in one night. Scotty's going to try. Scotty's going to probably get himself in a bit of trouble by trying. But we.
Can you stay away from Clarence Street that night for me, mate?
No.
I think all about Clarence Street.
I think I need to do Clarence Street first. I think
the Golden Mile. The Golden Mile.
No, it's not the Golden Mile. It's the Gauntlet.
It's a gauntlet.
It's the Clarence Street Gauntlet.
So it's like Cantina opening. Duke.
I think is Old Mate's doing the Monday as well.
Old Mate's doing Tuesday, from what I saw.
So I think
Wednesday. So there you go. There's a bit of staggering.
So I think for me the first, like, Burrow is very, very close to my
heart.
heart.
I think they're open Monday as well.
Yeah, I think Burrow, and obviously we have staff who work here that also work at Burrow Bar. So that will be probably my first visit. And for everything they've done in the past 3 months, and is it 3 months? Is it 4 months? I can't even fucking remember.
How many is? I can't remember either.
I'm gonna put some money through their tills, hopefully.
Yeah.
So that'd be my first stop, but then I think I'm going to stagger it out. Obviously, Old Mates is somewhere that I'm very, very fond of that I need to go to. I haven't seen a confirmed date for Rover and Tio's yet. So but they're all in my top levels.
Yeah. No, I'm very excited. I kind of stitched myself up because I was like, Mikey, we should open on the Monday. Like, what are we going to do? I feel like we should have one of the venues open on Monday because that 4 o'clock thing, there's going to be people around ready to go. So I stitched myself up. So Duke is opening on 4:00 on Monday, which means I can't go out at 4:00 on Monday. Absolutely stuffed myself, didn't I?
5 minutes to
yourself.
4.
Played
5
myself.
minutes to 4 on Monday. Let's all meet at Duke of Clarence. Let's line up. I'll do a quick shout out to Adelia Potts, King's Cross Distillery from the 21st. They're opening now.
That's exciting.
That's very exciting. But I also want to peer this back. I want to go 2 years back in time because
if I could turn back time. Sorry, go on, continue.
No, can you do that again, please? Just
No.
very quickly.
No,
Please do it again very, very quickly.
I'm not doing that again.
She's on camera now, folks. Big screen.
This was a conversation we had repeatedly at the Oak Barrel.
The switch of the screen. Sorry.
And ideally, if you're listening, please jump into the comments if I'm getting this wrong, and if you've got other sort of thoughts on this. When you walk out of the Oak Barrel after a shift, you turn left and you go to Surrey Hills. You do Rover, you do TOs, you do Golden Age Cinema, which is Paramount House. Then you pull up into Shady's and Big Poppers and that sort of stuff. Or you turn right and you do the Clarence Street Gauntlet via Rascals and that sort of stuff. I've thought, and I lived through the music industry age, the King's Cross lockouts and lockdowns and all that sort of carry on. I honestly thought that King's Cross just needed one more bar to make that the night out. You know what I mean? Because you had Dulce's, you had Jangling Jacks, you had a few others, and there's been like the restaurant sort of bars. But for someone like me who obviously doesn't eat food, it was about, I can go to Dulce's and Jangling Jacks, have a great night out, but they were sort of lacking in that immediate thought process about those two sort of other options. I think with King's Cross Distillery, and there's a lot of stuff now in Potts Point, I think King's Cross, is ready to go. Like it's back. Like it's back, baby. It looks very, very different to what we know it as. Yeah, bye, Matt. Thanks.
Bye, Matt.
Obviously, Matt hates King's Cross. And,
bye, Matt.
Anyone who's listening,
rude.
The King's Cross Distillery, Matt is like ethically opposed to, apparently.
Yeah.
Maybe he just hates gin. Maybe that's what he does. But
I've been looking forward to King's Cross Distillery for a while, so want to get in there.
Yeah. So, but I was hoping to ask Matt as well, but he's obviously disappeared into the ether, and obviously he doesn't eat King's Cross. I'm just making shit up.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the Scott and Alex show right now that we're going to roll through. So we had on a couple of weeks ago, we had the the team from About Time who all grew up in King's Cross, and there's like the whole hospitality industry. There's a certain vintage, that are now in those management roles that all grew up during that era. So from you, Alex,
Scotty, if they're vintage, what the hell am I?
No, I said a certain vintage. I didn't say vintage. I mean, because 18 years old is a vintage, 19 years old is a vintage, but they're all managed. They're all in position of power right now.
Yeah, but I was in King's Cross days around like the Sapphire Lounge, Hugo's, Porky's.
So tell me exactly. So yeah, you're in that position of power. I know you're managing a big group. So tell me what is your opinion of the King's Cross comeback right now when it's been almost blink 2 years have gone and we've missed it because of the pandemic. Things have been happening in the background. What is your perception of King's Cross when we get out of this?
Look at what happened with Manly. Manly was.
I don't cross the bridge. I'm from Western Sydney, so I have no idea. Manly
was the big rough. God, the fights and the bloods I've seen in the blood I've seen in Manly is insane. And then things got shut down. Lockout laws came in, and now Manly's back and booming in probably a better format, which is I think where King's Cross will end up being. Maybe not so much in that mass nightclub. Like binge drinking style. I think it's going to become quite a culture hub, I think this is part of the changes.
And let's be honest, that's not a decision by choice.
No,
they were legislated out of existence essentially.
Yeah. Adapt and grow stronger. That's definitely what they're going to do.
And I love what Dulce's have done. I love what Jangling Jacks have done, and I think they will always be the standard pallbearers of the fact we can make this work and we can drag people who aren't the binge drinkers, who aren't the people looking for the nightclubs, because that model doesn't work in the cross anymore. You do not have the physical number of people.
It's like Eau de Vie was there for years and years, 10 years in that section. But unfortunately, Eau de Vie did die, and the venue got old because of those lockout laws, and a lot of those restrictions weren't lifted in that section. So I think people are just adapting and getting smarter in the way they operate their businesses. And we're definitely seeing the strong ones come through and stay.
Yep. And I want to do a shout out to Adelia from the King's Cross Distillery, who was saying, she said, definitely, I think, in reference to the fact that there's this vibrancy happening right now. And my pasta tonight, what I'm going to eat, is coming from Potts Point, if they're still open by the time we get off this stream. And please come, and 100%. I think it's going to be another option in the city, which is awesome. Most importantly, though, Andrew Moat says that right now the Bailey has disappeared. I've got a few things to get off my chest. So right now, he hasn't come back into the chat. We have no idea where he is. He's unannounced.
His internet has gone down, which is his excuse.
Oh, there you go. That's all right. Well, yeah. And that's not the way he said it. There was some 4-letter words in that text message that.
Come on, I'm pretty
So right now, let's get some shit off our chest.
Right, let's do it.
Matt Bailey, what do you think of the bloke? Legitimately.
Oh gosh, that hair.
Shit haircut.
That
first and foremost.
Hair, far out.
I know I can't.
Do you remember
talk.
Did you remember the ponytail days?
I do. I mean, I
try. I can't work out whether I really liked them or whether I liked it or hated it.
People ask me, why do I drink? And I was like, because I had a friend whose name was Matt Bailey, and he had a ponytail phase. That's why I drink. And I know,
you two are really cute with how much shit you sling on each other.
Pot kettle black, I know, but there are legitimate circumstances for this helmet.
Yeah, Matt had no excuse.
No. You could go to a hairdresser at that point in time.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, absolutely. And the push up of the headphones that keeps the hair back now, and when it comes off, the hair flick. The hair flick comes up, he scruffers and then throws it to the side.
So, some of my favorite bits
throws it and swirls his glass.
Is when he's not talking and there might be a guest or a bit of conversation he's not involved with, and he thinks he can get away with doing eyes and things like this. And
he's usually making them at me to make me laugh. And yeah.
But little does he know, he just looks like a fucking idiot.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, bloody hell. Well,
this has been fun. We're literally 1 minute and 33 seconds away from having to close that back. Close this down because that's where we're at. Do you want to do a quick proust?
Yeah, let's do that.
He's I'll let him back in if he comes in, but he's gone.
Who's the whiskey love of your life?
The whiskey love of my life. This is going to be very controversial.
Done quick. Yep.
Because my girlfriend is sitting over there.
It's the whiskey love of your life.
And unfortunately, but it's a different thing. The whiskey love of my life is my best mate, Yvette Myhill.
Fantastic.
Who I met when I was a music journalist, and she was working in the music industry in a different part of the building for a different company. And as just someone who empowered me to actually have a go at this shit. And we started a company together. We did Dram Club, and we started coming to oak barrel tastings together. The love of my life is obviously my girlfriend, but the whiskey love of my life, I would have to do a shout out to Yvette, because I would not be where I am without her just pulling me up and just going, "You're a fucking idiot, but hold on, that one idea might work. Let's run with that." Yeah. And any success or failure, any success I have in the future, I will always trace back to what she's done. So she's probably not listening because she has a life and a job and other things to do. But as Andrew sort of said there, let's splice this up, put it on YouTube. I'm getting a lot of brownie points for when I come and visit her in the country, and maybe she can pay for my bill at the bar table I'm going to rack up at the Murrabit Hotel based on this, 2 minutes of content.
Fantastic. What distillery would you work at?
No. This is not how it works. What's the whiskey life of your life?
Oh, you can't answer me. You can't ask. No, that's the one I take off the table.
Okay. Well, let's.
I did answer it for you once.
I know, but it changes. So okay, I'll move on.
Thank
Okay,
you.
fair enough.
I can't answer that one.
Let's go. So topical. What do you most admire in a whiskey bar? Seeing as, and I'm not sure what the Melbourne situation is exactly, but people in Brisbane, people in Perth, they're already there. We're about to come back to this. We're very excited. What are you most excited about getting to a whiskey bar, and therefore, what do you most admire in a whiskey bar?
Table service.
Okay.
I'm going to go out there with that. I like to sit at the bar. And everyone has seats along the bar. And the thing I hate when I'm sitting at a beautiful whiskey bar is people leaning over me to order. So that table service, keeping everyone there down and not necessarily seated, but I know, or not having a designated, like, this is where you come and order your whiskies from, if you want to come up to the bar. But that is losing bums on seats, so it does make it tricky. But the thing I hate the most, which we should have asked me the thing I least like, is
I was trying to be positive, but
yeah,
whatever.
I like table service in a venue.
So that's such a fascinating answer to that question, because when you said table service, I'm thinking like, well, I don't kind of need table service because I can get up, my legs work, and I can walk to a bar. But I 100% agree, because I'm someone who doesn't sit at the table if they can avoid it. I sit at the bar. And if no one and also, like, if you're sitting at the bar, no one wants to have their, like, being ordered over the top of. Also, no one who has to order over the top of you wants to have to order over the top of someone. So, it's fuck. You might have done this before. You might have worked in venues for a bit, haven't you? That's such a good answer.
There's all the beautiful answers of, like, a wonderful back bar and a well-curated list and
that's such a great fucking answer.
Happy, friendly staff, but table service or designated service area.
As a member of the Roundtable, I don't think you can join the Hall of Fame, but I think that answer is worthy of it. So, good luck, but better luck next time.
Fantastic. Distillery. What distillery would you work at?
Well, I've answered this question a couple of times, I think, and my answer stays the same.
Still the same?
Yeah, my favorite distilleries in the world are places like Linkwood and Springbank. I have no interest in working at Linkwood because it is quite boring. It's everything against what my attention span can deal with. I would get so bored there. Springbank, I don't honestly think you can work at Springbank without having lived in Campbelltown for a little while and understand that culture. So for me, it's Wolfburn, where you could, and I think, as obviously if I worked at a distillery, it wouldn't necessarily be, pressing the go button on the stills, sitting there. I'll be part of the other, because, let's be honest, I'm going to fuck that up. The other parts would be good. But see, like, I love the distilleries that when you welcome someone,
it's hard. Don't get me wrong, but
when you welcome someone to a distillery, I love that concept of welcoming someone to a town as well. Mm-hmm. And so Wolfburn, as they make such exceptional whiskey, and they are building, from the ground up, essentially, in their new distillery. And I think I would love. I think if you had to. If you, like, gun to my head, you need to move to somewhere in the world right now, live in that town, work at that distillery, what would you choose? I would choose Wolfburn, because I could engross myself in that town and build that narrative and build those stories, so that when I'm welcome people to that town in 5-10 years' time, I go, hey, like, this is something that we understand. Welcome, sit down, let's chill out, let's take our time, because this is a very, very special experience. And this is something you're not going to get anywhere else. It's not bouncing around Speyside distilleries. This is a welcome to our culture experience.
Will, pitch forth. We need to talk. That is the answer is yes, Will.
So that's Bladnoch Distillery, I believe, would be Will Pitchfork. And g'day to Will. Lovely to see you, mate. Might be a little while before I'm allowed to get to Bladnoch, let alone anywhere outside of the state. But that would be a very, very special experience. Alex, I'm going to throw it to you. Now, you technically kind of work. Oh, hold on. Someone is coming back onto the stream, maybe. But you technically, EOS webcam utility is broken. Because that's embarrassing. Let's keep that up. But let's keep going. You're involved with Hickson House Distillery. That's very, very exciting.
Yep.
Putting that to one side. You gun to your head, you need to move to a town in the world somewhere. Could be any town in the world, Australia, America, Japan, Taiwan, Scotland, India, Ireland, South Africa, a distillery. You need to live in that town, work at that distillery. Which one are you moving to right now, outside of the Rocks and Hickson House?
I'm moving to Kentucky.
Yeah, okay. And
Yeah.
which distillery in Kentucky?
I haven't discovered all of them yet, so
No, but the problem is the gun is to your head now, not in 3 weeks' time when you get over there and discover it.
oh, okay. Four Roses was absolutely beautiful, but I'm gonna say, out of the ones I have been to in Kentucky, like I can't, like, I'm gonna stuff things up by saying this, but Wild Turkey was amazing, but purely because of all of the Kentucky Derby horses around the distillery, Woodford.
That's good. I was going to say that's a cute answer, but give me an answer. And so Woodford. So and let's just have this on. And as Andrew was saying, we'll clip this up for YouTube. Alex hates every other Kentucky distillery apart from Woodford. Matt Bailey,
you heard it here first.
You heard it here first. She fucking hates you all.
Yeah.
Matt Bailey.
Just
Matt
like
Bailey, we've sorry, go on.
No,
Alex?
you're right. I was just going to sling shit
We've been talking
backwards.
nonsense, don't we?
Let's
What
go
time
back
is
to
it?
the glorious hair of Matt Bailey.
Oh,
So we've done impressions. We did a whole half an hour segment on how shit you are as a bloke as well.
I'll have to
That
watch
was
it
good
back.
fun.
I'll have to watch it back as always. Yes, thank you. Appreciate it.
So final comments, because we're playing this game. We're playing Prowse for ourselves. Gun to your head.
Mm-hmm.
You need to move to a distillery. Sorry, a town, so a distillery in the world, in any distillery in any country in the world, live in that town, work at that distillery. Which one are you going to right now?
I'd moving to Aberlour then. It's not my favorite distillery, but the town is beautiful. And something like that, I think, might be where I'd move. If gun to the head right now, like snap decision, it'd be Aberlour.
Aberlour is beautiful.
Beautiful part of the world. It's so,
Yeah.
Stick with that.
There's some pretty big distilleries around it, like workhorse distilleries, from what I remember on the trip there. But there's this big castle on your way to, not castle, but a huge, like, estate on the way to Aberlour that was actually for sale when we were driving past it. And I'm sitting there going past on this bus, seeing this for sale sign, just like Googling how to find this place and how much it was worth because I was moving there. So I understand that.
Yeah. No, you get it. Yeah. And then you see the number and you're like, it's actually cheap because
Yeah.
you're so used to Sydney real estate. Versus
However, I feel if I'd ever been to Jack, it'd be Jack Daniels, though. If I'd been, I just haven't experienced that magic yet.
You've been to Woodford, close enough.
Yeah.
I love that answer because we asked this to people and they pick their favorite distillery, right? And that's not the whole point of it. It's like, also, do you want to live in that town? Do you want to be part of that culture for the next 5 years? And so I'm going to pick on, Scotch Down Under, if that is your real name, and I doubt that. He's said, if stuck in Oz, he or she is what I have no idea. Stuck in Oz, Albany, lime burners, and that's really been a trigger for me because let's narrow this down to Australia. And I would also pick Albany and lime burners. I love that town.
I haven't been.
Oh, mate, you got to go. It's such a beautiful part of the world. And like for me, like drenched in history, like, and in modern world history, as well as ancient world history. But you can go the walks around the bay and the walks around the coast until you get up to the museums and stuff. No traffic lights.
One roundabout.
Yeah, a couple. Well, there's a couple.
You know what song I'm quoting there?
And there's actually signs to say we're proud we have no traffic lights and that sort of stuff.
Okay.
That's
I'm going
like
to Spring
so
Bay.
big.
I'm going to Spring Bay then. If I'm going to Australia, it has to be Spring Bay. Sorry.
Oh.
Spring Bay in
But
Tasmania.
could you really live in Tassie though? Could you really live in Tassie?
Yeah, I could.
Yeah, I could.
I thought about it. I thought about it hard. And
then,
Christy nearly didn't let me come back. She kept me for an extra week, but nearly didn't let me come back.
Richmond is a lovely place, yeah.
Oh, where am I going to go? Do you know what? I'm probably going to go, just to be different, I'm probably going to say Byron.
Why?
Sunshine, beach, greenery, still got a bit of country.
You can find that in places outside of Byron.
No, I understand that.
Byron is the town that hates itself. No, like legitimately, and Bailey.
Did she say Highwoman when I left? Did she say Highwoman or no Byron?
No, she
I
said
mean, Byron.
No, but literally, and I remember, Bailey, you can either back me up or tell me I'm an idiot on this, but I went to a lot of Splendor in the Grass and Blues Fest in their early iterations, many, many years ago, and it was a town that loved, the fact that people were coming to town and spending money, but hating the fact that people were there, and this was this weird duality of, it keeps us alive, but we also hate that it happens.
You guys, yeah.
And people were just not very nice at all times.
Well, I mean, Byron did just top the shit town power rankings for 2021.
Get out.
Yeah.
So, why would anyone want to live in Byron Bay?
Because I can go play with Dan Woolley's whiskey.
Wow.
So Dan Woolley's what?
Oh, fuck off.
Willie?
You left it
Whiskey.
open. Come
Okay,
on.
goodbye.
Ah!
Oh, fuck, you just had to go there, didn't you?
I did.
All right.
We're 11 minutes over time, so
I know we are. One more question. What's your
I
first
got nowhere to
distillery?
be. Let's keep going.
What's your first distillery you're visiting when we're allowed to travel in Australia?
Probably for me, Four Pillars, because it's the closest one. Like the lab is literally walking distance. So
Yeah.
And also, I was invited to the new Archie Rose distillery in Botany, and there was a bit of work things going on, and I had to cancel 2
Me
days
too.
out. And I thought I'll go the next week.
I said that to you. I've toured it a few times.
Yeah, and you can shut the fuck up right now.
So good.
My first destination distillery, funnily enough, is going to be arguably the closest destination one. I'm going to beg Lisa and Dave and anyone involved in that distillery, please, I'm sorry. I should have shut the store and closed it for a day so I could come and visit, but I didn't. And I'm paying for my penance. I want to come. I want to have a look. Take me through it. Talk me through it, because it looks
Okay. We should
mind-blowing.
tee that up together then so we can go, because I was on the same trip and I had to cancel as well. So, it's something that I was upset over that I couldn't go, but I was hoping that there'll be another time. So, yeah, that's one on my list, but I have a trip that I want to do, and that is backwards, Corowa.
Wait. You said first distillery.
Just
you
the
didn't say
one.
first
Just
trip.
the one. No trip.
So when you get on that trip, are you visiting Corowa first or backwards?
Probably backwards, because I am going to see Dad first.
Yep. Logistics play a part.
Yeah. So backwards, and then I want to go Corowa. I want to go to Malt House. I want to go to Barrel Brokers. That's going to be a little trip.
And then up to Griffith to Voyager.
And then
House as
Ashling, that's really close to where I was born. So, and where our family property was. Definitely there. And also where the stills are being made for Hickson House.
Yeah. Okay. So Burnsy's building your stills.
Yep.
Good. Before Matt, you answer, I want to just do a bit of house cleaning. Scotch Down Under. We've got a name. My new best mate Ken. Kennedy's name. Good on you, Ken. Lived in Albany. Then moved up. Did an interview and episode with Cameron on his channel a while back. So if you're watching this, go and watch Scotch Down Under's chat with Cameron Syme from the Great Southern Distilling Co., which includes Lime Burners and Paronga Ups and Margaret River. This is an endorsement without knowing anything about this. What could be on this interview, because I haven't seen it myself, but I'm going to watch it straight after. But go and do it.
Done. And Matt, where are you going?
Bakery Hill, probably, just to go say hi to David and go see David and Andrew and go see what they're up to. Their new distillery, hopefully.
Yes, I was going to say. So where's it going to be? Are you going to rock up at the wrong place?
No, Flemington, their new one. I'll have to see their new one be the first one.
Is it ready now? Is it happening?
No, not even close. But
if you had to get on a plane or a train or mode of transport to in 2 weeks' time, it's not going to be there, right?
No.
Yeah. And final question from Tim Goody.
Ugh.
Last question. How long till we can have a drink at Hickson House?
Can I say no comment?
You can.
Yes.
No comment.
No comment.
Watch this space.
Yeah, and
Right,
and if and if
Oh,
you're bored of this,
I have dates and everything like that. I'm just not allowed to talk about it because we're
Yeah.
keeping it all under wraps and quiet and a surprise.
and if you thought this was average, Scotch Dead Under's done a bloody good interview. It's much better than what we've
Great
spoken
brands.
about. So yeah, go and watch that instead. Subscribe to that one.
Watch that professional channel.
Yeah.
Watch that actual channel, not this one. Okay. All right. See you,
Guys,
folks.
we really shouldn't
Thank you.
drink and talk shit with each other. We need guests to keep us under control.
Also, keep it under an hour.
Yeah, I know. Far out. On that
Thank you.
note,
Thank you, everyone. We will see you all in physical spaces in very, very soon. There is light at the end of the tunnel, whether you are from Sydney, from wider New South Wales, from Victoria. I know their roadmap isn't quite as clear as what we have up here. Whether you're in Queensland and WA, whether you're trying to get in here, we're trying to get there. There's light, there's tunnels. We will get there very, very soon. And holy moly, it's going to be good fun when we get there.
and I will see you all at the bar, except for you, Bailey. You can stay in lockdown.
I'll see you. I'll see you at the bar. I'll head over. All right. Thanks, folks.
Godspeed, good luck.
Godspeed. Good luck.
Drink, piss, be happy. We might be back next week. We haven't thought about that as much as we thought about this week, but we'll figure